hurdles to do it because they were trying out other guitar players.
Yeah.
Because it was like a band thing, and they're like, hey, we want to do this and we want to be professional. And I was like, okay, I'll really hunker down and really get on it, because I knew I was pretty good from like just learning and playing with my brother, being at home and playing together all the time. And like every time he sat in with me, he'd always ask for my opinion on everything he did. He'd always be like, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Writing like the very first EP of, Before Dying As Your Latest Fashion and all that stuff like that. And then so he liked all that, it was like a collective thing. And then so he pitched out the idea to the band, like, hey, we should try out my brother and let's give him a shot and stuff like that. And but they were kind of hesitant. This is the weird part about it, is they were really hesitant officially putting me in the limelight image of Escape the Fate. The manager was scared of it because he wanted it portrayed a certain way. So it was a manager decision to do that, though. And he influenced the band members to go along with it. But at that time, I didn't really care. I just wanted to play music. I just wanted to go and play music instead of working at Coca-Cola or whatever. So I was like, I took it, and he offered me, he's like, how much do you want? And I was like, you get paid for this? In my head, I'm thinking that, but I wish I would have made smarter moves about that. And like, I was like, and he's just like, how's like $100 a week sound? And I was like, that sounds great. Let's do it. And he's like, okay, you're going on tour. We're going on, we're getting an RV. Was like the first tour I officially did, was we got an RV for the first time. And we had, we toured with, Silverstein and Chiodos were like the headliners. And then it was us. And then I think it was like Alisana under us or something like that. And they were like the opener. And then there's like some local bands kind of stuff that would come through. But I think that was the tour package. And we did it. And it was really interesting. It was really interesting because Silverstein hated us. They couldn't stand us. They wanted to kick us off the tour. They wanted to kick us off the tour because this is right when This War Is Ours came out. So we were just like it was blowing up. Like everyone's like, wow, these guys are the shit. They're the coolest kids right now, and we gotta like push them. And I think our label reached out to one of their labels to push their spot, so we would play some nights over like Silverstein or Chiodos. And they did not like that. They did not like us and all that. I got along more with Chiodos here and there, and but Silverstein, and I used to love Silverstein growing up too, which is so funny that you never met these guys and they just hate you because they don't even like your persona and stuff, like where you're coming from. I was like, I never met you, but you already hate me. What the heck? But they really hated it when Max, he destroyed a public bathroom at one of the shows. He completely destroyed it. And he like ripped sinks from the wall and was like bashing the bathroom mirrors and stuff like that. And he's like punching them. And they found that out, and they wanted to get us kicked off the whole tour. And we're about to get kicked off the tour from that. But our sales and everything, we were bringing kids and audiences at the time, and they just looked over it. Their like management looked over at Silverstein's management, Chiodos' management. They just looked over it, and they're just like, hey, these kids are literally, this band is literally drawing you guys the new audience and stuff like that. And so they just had to, bite their lip and just go along with it. Right. Yeah, but they didn't like that.
Oh man.
They didn't like us, but I never really got to know them, but they just already didn't like us because of, I don't know, there was an ego thing, really, it was probably.
Awesome. So, I know as a fan myself, I've always enjoyed the ETF songs. So, what was the whole writing process like for you?
In Escape the Fate?
Yeah.
In Escape the Fate, let's see, oh my god. Well, okay, I came on like officially, but I always wrote with my brother here and, at home and give him ideas to pitch and stuff like that during like, the EP and Dying Is Your Latest Fashion. But Dying Is Your Latest Fashion and the EP were more like a collective togetherness, I want to say, for the band.
Okay.
And when they went to work with Elvis Basket and all that, it was like good. It was mutual. Brian, my brother, wrote a bunch of stuff, and like Ronnie would come in with his like lyrics and stuff like that after and stuff like that. But when I joined, it was towards the halfway mark of This War Is Ours, and so my brother, I got the chance to go in the studio and meet John Feldman, and he was a great guy. The studio was amazing, and so I got to meet him. And Brian needed help writing a few solos and stuff like that. And John Feldman was just like looking over our shoulder while we're trying to figure out this solo for one of the songs. And he was like, just like in anticipation, just like pounding his fist on the table, kind of like doing that whole like coffee thing where you kind of have that itch. And he's like, he blew up on us and goes, "We don't got time for this. You guys need to hurry up and make this." And I was like, "I just met you. I don't even know who you are. And you're already yelling at me." It's like, yeah, it's funny. No, but as I got to know John Feldman later on, he was actually a really cool dude. He just wanted it to be the best and stuff like that, which is totally fine, when you're in that flow. But when I we officially started writing more, with the whole guillotine and all that came out, This War Is Ours. It was great. And I want to say this is like, I don't want to say it's like the downfall or anything like that, but it was when we went to the self-titled album to go and record it, most of it was already written with me and my brother at our apartment. And we showed the demos to the label, and this is when we had a bunch of eyes on us and stuff like that. And Interscope was in talks, and Warner Brothers was in talks, and we showed them this garage band demo of like, because this is what we had available to us at the time, before like the expensive studios you rent to get that kind of work and like that quality at that time. It's not like how it is today. So we just did stuff on our laptop in an apartment, and we showed these like 5-song demos to the label, the A&R of Interscope, and they loved it, and they backed it and signed us, and the deal was a lot of money. And then we got put into like a real studio, and we had a lot of say-so about it, but they were really adamant about getting the Linkin Park producer, what's his name? Don Gilmore. And it turns out he's not. I want to be an asshole, but he's not a very good producer. I'm sorry, but it was mainly like it was kind of like a shit show, because the band had a bunch of money, which is not good, because everyone was influenced by something. Someone had an alcohol addiction, someone had this addiction, someone just doesn't want to be there, So what happened was, the first week of recording the self-titled album, Robert recorded his drum parts, then he bounced, and I never saw him. He was there for 1 week, and he did like a shitty job at it too. There was like, I had to do like a lot of extra fixes and like a lot of programming to make it better. And like, it wasn't very good. And then he just left and bounced and went home back to Vegas. And we recorded it all in Los Angeles. So he left, and it was just me and my brother, and Craig was like never around. He was at his apartment, because we lived in these apartments called the Elkwoods. And Craig had his own apartment with Max, and me and my brother and Robert was supposed to had our own apartment. And that's how it was supposed to be, and we all go to the studio together, collectively. But when we did that, it was mostly just me and my brother, though, and we would show up, wait, open up the door every morning, and go to work. It was just me and my brother, a producer, and I think it's just his engineer, one of his engineers that kind of helped out here and there. And so it was all on us to write this album. Like,
Oh,
and
wow.
we're like, all this tons of money is poured into this thing too. Like, I'm talking like hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like,
Yeah.
it was an insane amount of money. And it was just up to me and my brother to do it, to deliver, and that was really kind of hard on us, like mentally. And so we just hunkered down and we really worked the songs out. We laid everything out. We got, when we're writing, I want to say, like, what's this track list for it? It's like, there's like a metal song. I don't know the name of it right now. It starts off with the metal track.
Was on there. Let's Choose Your Fate, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Like
yeah.
that
Choose
one?
Your Fate is the intro. We wrote that. Me and my brother wrote that on our laptop at
Yeah, I
home,
remember you
which
said
was
that.
it was mostly just programming stuff like that, simple programming. It was on a GarageBand demo, and that's when we knew this producer wasn't really good, is because he was just like, how about we just take those GarageBand files and we just fly them over into the session, and we'll just use all that. And I was like, you're not gonna redo this, like redo it better, And then he's like, no, we'll just add like maybe a few tweaks here and there, but I think it's good to go. I really like it. And I was just like, oh, God damn it. But that's when I was like, I don't know about this guy. And like, cause he was more of an engineer. He's like a really good engineer than a producer, I'd say, because he wasn't a very creative person. Like, he didn't write anything. He didn't do anything like that. He simply just pressed record most of the time. And then he was just like, well, what do you guys think of it? What do you guys think of it? And we're just like, well, you're supposed to tell us, like, He's like, well, I'm fine with it. And then he'd go back to playing on his iPad, like video games or something, whatever he did. He was playing like Tetris or something. And like, it was really bad. And like, so we had like no collective feedback. So we just were like thrown into that, and we weren't used to that. And so we tried to write all these songs, I wrote, let's see, one I really wrote was the, I want to say Gorgeous Nightmare. Yeah. That's one I wrote on an acoustic just by myself in our apartment, in our bedroom. And I was just trying to come up. I was listening to a lot of like, I want to say 3 Days Grace at the time. I don't know what it was, but I was really obsessed with 3 Days Grace at that time. So I was writing like that for Gorgeous Nightmare. And that's how that song particular came in my head. I just wanted it to be like a certain way. And like with the riff and like the kind of the chorus it came up with. And like, but I have like even vlogs and stuff from way back then that no one's ever seen before, of just me and my brother working together in the studio by ourselves. But when we finally got all the tracks laid out, like pretty nicely, we hired, for one of the songs, we got like a pianist. He was like some pianist virtuoso. It was like for the very last song on the album. We wanted to do something kind of epic or whatever. I think it was for, World Around Me. That was the song. So we got like a real pianist to come in and like play the piano part, stuff like that. And but we had like all these songs laid out, and then Craig finally comes in. Craig finally shows up and is like, okay, what do you guys got? Just like that, It was like that. And he started writing. We were all kind of writing like lyrics together. And like, it was just Craig, was added finally into the mix, and like he came in and like we're trying to jot lyrics down. He's like, I have these lyrics for this and I have for that. And I was like, and okay. So we like moved things around, and like most of it I kind of liked, at the time. It wasn't bad. And like, that's where the producer kind of helped a little bit, I want to say, but sort of, I guess. And but it was kind of a shit show, though, I want to say. It wasn't good. And but we pulled through and we made the album, though. And I was like, wow, I don't know how we did it, but we did it. But we went, and like after the album was done and we were ready to turn it in and all that, we got Chris Lord-Odalji to do the mix and master of it. He was like famous for doing Green Day back then. He did Green Day, and he did like, I don't know, like all those hot bands that were like around that era at the moment. And like he so Whistler wasn't very good. I'll say. Yeah, he wasn't very good. But when we went to turn it in, my brother freaked out because he didn't like how it turned out, and he thought it could be better, and he wanted a different kind of producer and stuff like that. So he went literally. They had a meeting with the owner of Interscope, okay, to turn in the album, and they had their A&Rs and the band, and they walk into the head guy, head of the label. I forget his name now. I don't know why, but the owner of Interscope Records. But they walk in, and he's sitting in this like majestic, big, giant chair, and he has like all these gold things and items, and he's got like all this. Everything you could think of, this guy is balling. Like he's got $1 million watches and everything,
Wow.
And like he's got this red phone to the side of his desk, and he says, "No one says no to me on this red phone over here." He goes, "Nobody says no. Anyone I call." That's what he says. So my brother, he flipped out and just straight up said, I don't think the album's good enough. He's like, I don't think the album's good enough. The producer sucks. And then all the A&R guys start sweating, and then they try to calm down my brother because that's their jobs. Their jobs are on the line, And then this is the first time the owner is like being told this stuff, and he's just like, "What? You guys don't like the album?" And then he's like, "You guys don't like the album? What?" And and then everyone's all freaking out and stuff. Like our lawyers and our management's all freaking out because my brother said this, and then he goes, "Well, I can get you guys a red one if you want." And I was like, "Ooh, who's red one?" And he just did the Lady Gaga Bad Romance hit.
Oh.
And this is when he just dropped that song. He wrote that song with Lady Gaga, Bad Romance, and that was like blowing up. And then he did like a bunch of other people, like freaking Britney Spears, Enrique Iglesias, all these big artists, And so he was really Bad Romance. And he goes, no one, the owner goes, no one will say no to me. And then he picks up the phone and calls Red One, and he goes, I have this band in here that I want you to work with. And the guy lives in Morocco in Africa. And I was like, wow, okay. And I was like, so he's like, you guys want to go to Morocco and work with this guy? We're like, me and my brother are like, hell yeah, that sounds awesome. So we said yes to it. And I was like, all right, I don't know if I can do that, but I'll do anything for you. He's like, I'll do anything for you. I'll do this band if you really want me to. And he's like, yes, do the band. And then, so that's how it left, like we were angry with the producer we chose, and we didn't really want that producer. Our management forced it on us though and stuff. But if we could, I would have gone with like Kevin Churko, who was doing Five Finger Death Punch and stuff like that. And I wanted to go to him, actually, was my idea. But he wasn't up and coming just yet. And this guy had a name for himself, It turns out he didn't even really do Linkin Park. He Mike Shinoda did everything.
Yeah, of course.
Mike Shinoda did everything, and then he just helped kind of produce it. I engineer it, I guess, put it together. But Mike Shinoda does everything for them. I think after that, they even stopped going to Don Gilmore and just started doing everything themselves. Yeah. After that, the Hybrid album came out. Yeah. But we were supposed to go to Morocco, but the band was like, we don't want to do, and Robert were all saying. So we're like, oh, fuck. And then we just worked. We're like, oh, fuck. And then we just worked with this guy called, what is his name? We worked with these two black guys who were doing Britney Spears and Demi Lovato. And we went to them instead because the guys were like, no, we don't need to go to Morocco. We can do something here. So we got the guy who did Britney Spears and Demi Lovato and like Miley Cyrus or something like that. And so I forget his name. I want to remember his name. I want to say Timberland, but I know it's not Timberland. What is his name? I forget his name. Oh God, his name was something with Beats. Oh God, his name was something Beats. But he Beats, man. And like, he mostly is used to like working in R&B and stuff like that. So we were a rock band coming into like an R&B kind of style environment. And so it was so much different from what a rock producer normally does. Like an R&B artist and all that. They have like the giant keyboards laid out, and they make everything on piano, like all their beats and stuff like that.
Oh,
And he had an engineer that was like the smartest guy I ever met, like doing everything and putting it for him. So everything he wrote, he would record it, and our engineer would put it together. I was like, man, this guy is like living the life, man. It's like, because he had this throne when we walked in his studio, and then he also had this singer who was like an amazing R&B soulful singer who was helping Craig sing better, and he was teaching Craig how to sing and stuff like that. It was cool. And we ended up doing like 3 songs with them that no one's ever heard before. I have the demos of it.
Oh, wow.
But no one's ever heard it. But every time I show it to people, they love it. But we did 3 songs with them, actually, that never got released. But I have the 3 songs. And one was called Straight to Your Grave. It's called Straight to Your Grave. And it was very, very like I want to say Justin Bieber, but it almost sounded like Justin Bieber. It started sounding kind of that way for that song particular. And then we had this other song called, it was really cool. It was, I forget what it was called. I think it was just called Die or something like that. But it was very dark, and like the beat that the guy made was so sick that we used his beat, and then we influenced a bunch of guitar stuff into it. It was really cool. And it was dark. It was really cool, but everyone seems to love that track a lot. And like, so we did that, and then we tried to do City of Sin with them, because we liked the way they had a vocalist on hand, and then he just came up with melodies all the time. He was a melody guy, and he was helping Craig come up with melodies like on the spot. And then he was so cool that he even he brought me in to sing too. And he's like, hey, you want to sing too? And he's like, I think you have a good part too, because it would sound better if we had like a group singing together. And I was like, sure, why not? Let's do it. Let's do it. So I went in there. I'd never sang before. And then I was just like hitting the notes and stuff. He was showing me how to do it and coaching me with Craig how to sing this part. And I was like, sure, fuck it, let's do it. And it was really fun. It was like the most fun experience working with these guys. And no one knows about this stuff too. Like nobody knows about this shit. And like I don't know if anyone's ever told anybody about these things we had. But with these sessions with these guys we did. But we did these 3 songs, and we tried to do City of Sin, but it was sounding very like gangsterish, I want to say. I don't know. It was totally a different vibe than what the City of Sin originally is. But we ended up using a different melody. We had a different melody, so we went with that though instead. But we infused like a little bit of it and stuff from what we did with those guys. But it was really cool, and it was like, I wish we would have put out one of the tracks, because it was actually like really legit good. And like everyone who I show it to, all my friends, they are like, damn, how come you guys never put that on the album? What the hell? It's the best song. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, that would be cool to hear that. So
yeah, I have it somewhere.
Yeah.
It's really different, and it's cool though. I like it. People enjoy it. They're like, it's something totally different from what the album entirely sounds like, but it's actually really cool. It's totally different. Yeah, and we had a few different people that came in too and helped, that we wrote songs with, and for the end, you know. Yeah. But we ended up writing a song with John 5 when he was doing Rob Zombie and Marilyn Manson and stuff like that. We went over to his house, and he was really freaking cool, man. He's like super humble and down to earth guy. He's super quiet too. He talks very quiet and humble. And he's just like, okay, when we walked in his studio, he's like, okay, guys, make sure you guys put all your phones in this basket over here, because I don't want the electricity to pass through anything. And he talks like that. Oh, wow. Just like when we're normal talking to the guy. Yeah. And then he just starts ripping it, dude. He just fucking, when he turns on his guitar, he just fucking starts ripping it. I'm just like, oh God, he's really good. And then like, he wrote us a few different like riffs and stuff like that. And he's like, I wrote a few different riffs, and they definitely sound like something like for Rob Zombie or something, stuff like that type of vibe, you know? And I was like, this is cool. And then he came out with this one song on the spot, and which ended up being Liars and Monsters eventually.
Oh, nice.
But he wrote the riff for that, and we it was really cool. He was recording it, and then he came out with like this cool lead for the guitar part that almost sounds fake, but it's actually a guitar like with a lot of phaser on it and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
And like he let me do pick up his guitar, and he's like, okay, you want to record the other part? And I was like, I don't know the part, what the hell. I was like, and I was like, I'm scared to even play your guitar, man. This is like, I see this guitar like everywhere. I was like,
Oh, wow.
and like on all his photos, he's like, here, play it. And I was like, oh my God, this is cool. And like that was when I was like, oh, this is really cool, man. This guy is cool, because I love freaking Rob Zombie, Marilyn Manson, and him.
Oh, yeah.
All his stuff he put out. So it was really cool to work with him. And we used that song, and I recorded a part in it with him. It was really tight. Just like I layered him. I want to say, I just like layered his part, made it like cooler and stuff like that. But I was hella nervous though. I was like, oh my God, this is scary, because everyone's watching me like this, and I was like, I never been watched like that, like everyone just looking at me, and just like and him looking at me, and I was just like so nervous to play, man. I was like, shit. Yeah, I never been kind of like nervous to play in front of everybody but him, because he was like such a good guitar player. I was like, shit.
For sure.
It was like, man, I'm good, but I'm not that good. Like, that guy's been playing his whole freaking life, man. That guy's insane, another level.
Oh,
But yeah, we used the Liars and Monsters songs, and we kind of changed it up a little bit when we finished it. So it came out a little different from what we originally had in the demo. But it was really good. We ended up using the song from him.
That's awesome.
And we worked with a few other artists too, but those didn't turn out that great. And then we worked with like a few. Oh, we worked with the Shinedown. We worked with the Shinedown, the guy who produced Shinedown and did at the time, right when they came out, and dropped Devour and songs like that.
Cool.
And we called his house the Mordor house from Lord of the Rings.
Oh, wow.
Because he lived in like the middle of nowhere, and like all around him was just like these gigantic mountain terrains, and it looked like freaking something out of the Lord of the Rings book. Like the movies.
Yeah.
And we called his house the Mordor house though. But he was like the funniest guy I ever like got a chance to work with. We showed him a few songs, and he like was starting to write some melody lyric stuff, and it was like the funniest shit I ever heard. It was for the song Zombie Dance. I think we named that song for Zombie Dance. We showed him Zombie Dance, and the melody will haunt me forever of what he came up with. It was the most funniest thing. When I tell my brother about it, he doesn't think it's that funny, but everyone else is like just hilarious. Like me and Robert, we're always making fun of it every time. We're like, let's play that version instead. Like, and then because it's totally fucking different, it was so funny. He's like, the way he was coming up with the melodies for that song was like, it was just so like an old man. It was like an old man trying to sing a swing song. He's like, he was trying to make it like all swing, and like, he's like, it was really funny. He's like, you hear the screams going, you hear the screams going, and I was like, what the hell's going on right now? And I was just like turning away. I was like, oh my God, this is so weird, dude. This is so bad. That I don't want to say that. I was just like, oh, yeah, it's pretty good, you know, it's pretty good, you know. And I'm just like laughing, dying over here though. I was just like, what the hell's going on, man? This is horrible. So we got the chance to work with some totally different people.
That's really cool. I mean,
that was for the self-titled record though.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I know, like, then y'all went back for Ungrateful with Feldy, right?
Yeah, we went for Ungrateful, but the real story behind the Ungrateful record was like, I left the band at the time. I wasn't in the band anymore because I had like a lot of issues with the band, and I needed a break from all of that, and so I wasn't in the band anymore at the time. So I was writing here in this house where I am now, the Ungrateful record, which would become the Ungrateful record, but I was writing it actually to depart something different eventually. because I was just writing just to write. But me and my brother mostly wrote like more than half of that album here at home with acoustics and stuff
Oh,
like
wow.
that. And then we just demoed it out on our computer and stuff like that. And we had a lot of demos, and we wrote. Brian completely wrote Ungrateful like in a day. Like it took him like one day to write it, and we just came out like certain parts and stuff like that, and then it was done. That song was actually like in one day though.
Oh,
It
wow.
was written. And then I came up with Picture Perfect because I was listening to a lot of Nickelback at the time. I was listening to a lot of Nickelback, so like all the chord structures are like Nickelback and stuff like that. I took that kind of melodies and stuff like that and went with that. But we most of the all the music was already laid out for it, and we were actually gonna like depart and leave and stuff like officially. I was already done at the time, and this is when they had like Kevin Thrasher playing on tour for them. They had Kevin Thrasher, and they had what's his name, TJ. TJ was playing bass and stuff like that, and they were on tour with like Avenged Sevenfold or something like that. And then me and my brother are writing all these songs here at the house though, and we were gonna write it and do our own thing. Actually, at the time, we were gonna do our own thing back then, way back then, and stuff like that. But the band approached us when they were in San Diego, and they're just like, "Hey, you guys want to come and watch us play and just hang out and catch up?" And I was like, I haven't seen you guys in like a few years, because this was like I haven't seen them since 2010, and it was like 12 or something like that. Like I haven't seen them like 2 years. I quit after 2010 after we dropped the self-titled. I went on like one more tour, and then I left because I had like issues with health, and I had issues with the management and stuff like that, and so I had to like but he eventually left too. I don't know. We were going through a lot emotional in our heads and stuff like that. Just drama, all that stuff. But when we were writing Ungrateful, we just mostly wrote it here at the house. And we went to go see them though. So I was like, okay, we're going to go to San Diego. Let's go to San Diego and go say hi to the guys, And it was so weird to me because they played with Avenged Sevenfold, and we went and met them, and I met Kevin, and I knew Kevin because I did merchandise for his very first band, which it's really funny like how the world works. But back then he like I really was like good friends with Kevin and stuff like that. Like we slept together in the same bed on tour because I was their merch guy, and he played in the guitar, and all they had was like this tiny little van. And so I just wanted to go and like learn the ways and stuff like that. And so I went on and did merchandise for them and helped the stage and stuff like that. Helped set the stage for his very first band. It was funny. So I was really good friends with Kevin, and it was so weird to see him like taking this role, and like playing, and like I think it's because I partially knew him. I might have thrown his name out and stuff like that, and so they reached out to him and stuff like that. Because he was like my friend back then. We were like cool friends, like and stuff. Just it was cool. And so when I met them again, it was really weird because like this is like our band, so my band, and then but I have my friend playing, like as if he's like in the band officially. It was so weird to me, when you look at like that, from an outside perspective, it's weird. And like, so it was cool. It's just still different. And I was just like, how's tour been? And they're just like, man, it's been crazy, stuff like that. And like, yeah. And I was just telling them like what we were doing. We're just like, and stuff like that, chit chatting. And then we went to the front of house to go watch them play, me and my brother, to go watch Escape the Fate play. It was so weird. Like we're the guitar players, but we're not playing, and we were getting all these looks from everyone in the audience when we went out to go to front of house to go watch out on the amphitheater. We're getting all these looks, and people are coming up to us. How come you guys aren't playing? What the hell's going on? And I was like, oh no, we are. We're here to watch though. I had to explain to like fans and stuff while we're walking to the front of house. Wow. It was really funny. And then I got there, and then like I see the band, and I see like this different version of what Escape the Fate is. It's like so weird to me watching it this way. I was like, this in my head, I'm like, okay, this isn't really Escape the Fate. This is like a cover band of Escape the Fate. I was like, yeah, it was like, because the way everything was played, Kevin was never shown how to play anything. So he just learned it by ear. He never learned, he was never shown how to play nothing. So he learned it by ear, you know, how to play everything. And so when I watch him, okay, why would you do that? I'm like, you know, I'm just depicting like everything that he's playing wrong, and TJ's playing wrong and stuff. And I'm just like, okay, this is weird. This definitely feels like a cover Escape the Fate band. So it was definitely weird. We got rated like one of the best #1 shows and stuff like that, because we had like all these different quirks that we would do, and they didn't do anything. And so I was just like, it was like really boring and bland, you know, at the time. You know, this is way back then, you know, 2013 or whatever. What it was, 2012, something like that. And it was just very bland, you know. Yeah, because that's like a certain way we play the songs is totally different. Like the from like the harmonics we do, from the pinch things and the squeals. We have like a signature sound that people just love to hear, and that's recorded on the album. You know, and it was just so weird hearing it like a different version of it. I was just like, wow, this is so weird to me. But after the show was done, I was like congratulating. I was like, hey, good show, you guys. You know, I was being nice. You know, I'm a nice person. Like, I don't hate anybody. That was the end of it. And I get this phone call from Robert and Craig, and they go, you know, I really think Escape the Fate is done. I think it's done. We're just done. But we don't want it to be done. We want you guys to come back, and we want to do another album and stuff like that. We're because either this or I'm done, you know. They're all saying stuff like that to me. So it made me feel really bad, you know. This is your baby and you're not treating it right. In my head it felt like that. And I was like, this was like my baby, you know, and stuff like that. And I just like let it go and stuff. And I was just like, wow. And I had like a realization kind of like that, and it hit me in the head. And I was just like, maybe I should come back. Maybe we should come back and let's do Ungrateful, the album, and stuff like that, you know. And it was that. And we ended up getting offered a lot of money if we did it. And I needed the money at the time. It was like, okay. So Robert's telling me this sympathy story about how he wanted us to come back, though. And he was just like, I really miss you and your brother. Kevin's nothing like you guys. I can't stand Kevin. He doesn't know how to play the songs. He doesn't have your guys' style. You know, he's saying all this shit about Kevin. And I was actually like, you know, Kevin's not terrible, but he was just trying to get us to come back, like really hard, and just saying whatever we wanted to, he thought we wanted to hear, you know. And I was just like, you know, and he was shit talking Kevin though, and just like, we don't want Kevin, he sucks. You guys are so much better and stuff like that. You guys have like this creative style that's just so unique, and then we need it. We just need that spark again, because we can't do another album. We can't do anything without you guys. And I felt really bad, you know, and like they're my friends, you know. So I was like, you know, let's do it. Let's do this. Let's do Ungrateful. Let's do another album, you know. I was like, okay, we're back, you know. And like it was official, like I'm in the band, you know. I was like, oh yeah. Another part of it was, I don't want the manager. I was like, he has to go. And I was like, he fucking has to go. I'm not coming back if we have that manager. And so we got rid of the manager, though. We got rid of the manager, and we had a bunch of different kind of managers at that time, stuff like that were interviewing at the time, you know, besides writing the album and stuff like that. But we ended up going back to Feldman, because we really wanted to work with Feldman on the self-titled record. Actually, we wanted to work with Feldman, but it was already turned in. It was like too late at the time. And so we ended up going to Feldman this time, though, you know. And we ended up doing like 2 or 3 songs with him. And it was Forget About It or something like that. I forget what that song's called. And it was One for the Money was the other one. And then there was like one more called, that wasn't like released in America. It was released in Japan only. It's called Apologize. That song, Apologize. I don't know if you ever heard that one, but it's like not officially in America, but it is on YouTube or whatever. But we did those 3 songs with him: One for the Money, Forget About It, and Apologize. And those songs are really cool. We ended up bringing in, um, we brought in Boys Like Girls singer, and he wrote. This was a really tough time for Craig. I want to say this is when like Craig was like having like complete writer's block or something, and he couldn't write anything. Uh, Everything that he was coming up with wasn't very good, you know, and like he just wasn't there mentally. He like checked out of his head. In his head, he like checked out. He like wasn't writing good, you know, and so we didn't use anything that he was doing. So we hired these fill-in writers and stuff like that. So we ended up getting Fall Out Boy. What's his name? The singer of Fall Out Boy, really quick.
Patrick Stump, yeah.
Yeah, Patrick Stump. That's his name. Yeah. So we brought in Patrick Stump, phenomenal singer. Oh my God, he's so good. He wrote the melody to Picture Perfect though, and I was just like, as soon as he started, the way he writes is he takes a notepad and he starts jotting down lyrics. He's like, okay, what do you guys want the feeling of this song to be like? He was asking us. And I was like, you know, it's our friend, our childhood friend just died in a motorcycle accident. And it was like, it was me and my brother's best friend who was in like our very first band ever. He was like, he was our next door neighbor as a kid. He was our childhood friend. And he just died from a motorcycle accident. And like, so we were all traumatized from it. So the song, it was about him though. And the song was actually about him. And like, it was about a best friend losing a best friend and stuff like that. And so he was like hearing all this stuff and he was loving all that. And he was just like, okay, I got an idea, you know, and he starts jotting down lyrics and different words. And he's just sitting there for like 20 minutes. He's like, all right, I got something. And then Feldman goes to record him and he just comes up with the fucking first line. And I'm just like, oh my God, this sounds really fucking good. Like, I was like, holy shit, dude, this guy is an amazing singer. You know, I was all amazed. I was like, damn, can you be our singer? I was like, you know, I'm just playing with Craig, you know, giving him shit, you know. Yeah. But I was like, damn, he's so good though. He's an amazing singer. So he laid the song all out for Craig, you know. And I was like, damn, Craig, you need to step it up and like fucking sing this shit good because goddamn, you got some shoes to fill. Like, you know, I was like, goddamn, he's such a good singer though. And he's great, came out with the best melodies I ever heard on that song. I was like, wow, these melodies are amazing. And so he wrote that song, melody and lyrics totally. Patrick Stump owns a percentage of it and stuff like that. And and then the Boys Like Girls singer, I forget his name, but he was off the wall. He reminds me of like Ronnie's attitude. He reminded me of that. He was like all like wearing these blinging rings and stuff like how I got on, but he's like, I only write hits, bro. I only write hits, man. I don't write no B-sides. And he's all like super cocky like that, and it was weird and funny. And then he started throwing all these random words out. He's like, 'cause it's 1 and it's 2 and 3 for the show. And it was like ridiculously funny. Yeah, it was like super funny. And I couldn't take it seriously at the time almost because it was like too stupid for me. Like, and I wasn't used to it. But he's like, he taught me something I'll never forget. He's like, it doesn't matter. All that matters is like the hype of everything. That's what his interpretation of music was. He's like, it matters about the hype and like the feeling you get when you listen to a song versus just lyrics all the time. He's like, so he wrote the most stupidest fucking lyrics, honestly. I thought they were really stupid. We all thought they were really stupid, to be honest. Wow. And like, but the flow was really good and it fit the song really well, One for the Money. Yeah. And so when he was laying it out, it sounded horrible. And then after John Feldman did his magic and made him do it certain ways and worked with that singer, it sounded fucking legit. And I was like, oh, I get it. I was like, I get it. I was like, I get it. I was like, okay. So we got on board like collectively and I started helping him out and showing him different ways he could do it. In the meantime, Craig wasn't really doing anything. He was very skeptical and weird about everything. So he just stayed quiet. I think he was mostly pissed off the whole time. Like because he wasn't being able to write and he knew he wasn't doing very good. So, so he just mostly sat in a corner and just kind of arms folded kind of thing. And I was just in it with the singer though. I was just like, man, do this, try this. And then he's like, all right, I feel you, bro. I feel you. And he's like, it's like, all right. It's like a tool for the show. I was like, oh my God. But it came out really good.
Yeah,
But it's so cheesy. And so we're like, okay, we're gonna layer the fuck out of this song, and like we're gonna make it really sick, you know. And so we made gang chants. We all went in the room together, although we got everybody, all the engineers and everyone's, and we did all this. We just shouted at the top of our lungs, 1, 2, 3, you know. But then when it was mixed and laid out, it sounded so good. I was like, oh, this sounds really tight. I was like, all right, this is pretty cool now. And I was like, cool, Craig, you just got to really like scream the fuck out of this song. I was like, when we got back to it, I was like, you got to really like belt this shit out. I was like, that's the vibe this is going to be. And like, I was like, and then it's going to sound really cool if we do it this way. And so he did it that way, and it was really fucking cool. It came out like really good. And like, everything with the riff we wrote, like the whole breakdown at the end, we're just like, yeah. We came up with that like last minute. Me and my brother were just like, yeah, it's got to be fucking ends heavy and shit, like, you know, all this shit. And it was really cool. So that was the Boys Like Girls singer, and he also wrote Forget About It too. He did that. Yeah, he did that song. He wrote everything, and that song was really gay, I thought. Too. It was even more gay. Like when he's like, it was really weird to me, man. I was like, oh, shit, this sounds so weird. But I was like, okay, I get it again, though. And I was just like, okay. He's like, but the lyrics he was using were like almost calling yourself gay, which was really weird to me. I was like, why are you doing that? And he's like, so we had to change his lyrics around. You know, I had to change and sit with them. I was like, okay, we're going to change this. We're going to change that. I was like, because I'm not going to say we're gay. And I was like, why the fuck? It was really weird the way he was writing it. I was like, okay, but I get what he was trying to do. So I was like, well, we're changing this and we're going to change that. And then it's because, no, we're not going to do it that way. I was like, that's too gay. I was like, it was really strange. And so, you know, I had to put my mix on it to be approved, you know?
Yeah.
Because I wasn't going to let him like totally take control, you know? But he had some good ideas, you know, and stuff like that. But he just needed to be tamed down, you know? And then, yeah, but he pretty much wrote Forget About It and stuff like that. It was cool. Yeah, and then I want to say, so we did those songs, and then we ended up getting the black guy who we got for self-titled. I don't know what is it? Oh, it's Jay Angel. That's his name. Jay Angel was his name. And he helped us do those weird 3 songs that no one knows about, and okay. But he helped us write melody. He's a soulful singer kind of guy, but we brought him in for fun because he has like really cool hooks and stuff like that, and so we ended up bringing him on for this song called Desire. And we were writing that song, and I was just like, you know, this song's got to be metal and stuff like that. And then he was vibing it, and he's like, I already got something. And then he came out with the whole thing for Desire Everything. Oh, it's wow. Like, Desire. But it was all like really funny because it was like, you know, a black guy singing it. Like if I could relate his voice, it'd be someone like soulful, like, I don't know, like Jamie Foxx or something like wow. that. Yeah, it was like something totally different, but he was just really good at coming up with hooks and like swing and things to make you like think like, oh, I shouldn't have never tried. I would have never thought of that if I didn't have somebody show me something like that. Yeah. So he came out with stuff like that, but he pretty much wrote Desire, the whole song, for Craig. So we had all these fill-ins for Craig, you know, and I know it was bugging the shit out of Craig that we were doing this, you know, but he wasn't just coming up with anything, and it was really hard, you know. Everything that he would lay down, we just completely hated it, or just like we thought it was complete shit. You know? But it got really, really bad. It got really, really bad. So those were like pretty decent with John Fallon, but those were the only songs we did with him. Oh, okay. And we ended up going all the way to New Jersey to work with David Bendeth. And David Bendeth just did Bring Me to the Horizon, Sepaternal. Oh, cool. And he was doing Paramore, like fucking Breaking Benjamin and stuff like that. And he did all these like actually pretty good like Bullet for My Valentine He
Oh,
did,
yeah.
you know, he's doing all these bands, and so he was kind of hot shit. And we flew out there to New Jersey, and we stayed in this shitty hotel. I remember, and like, so we're all out there, and we all went in a van every day to the studio, and it was so fucking weird. It was so fucking bad, and it was so fucking weird. This guy is the most weirdest dude I ever met. He is like not even a producer. He's like a guidance counselor.
Oh,
Okay.
man.
Like this guy literally, we didn't write music for like 2 weeks. I don't even know what we did. Uh, we talked about feelings and like feelings towards each other. It was so weird, but we didn't write any music for like 2 weeks while we were there. But we'd show up every single day, and we would literally just talk. It was like we'd just talk, sit in a group, and he would talk to us and tell us his like stories and stuff like that. And he had some interesting stories though, actually. I was like, one of his stories was like he was working with Hayley Williams, and he brought in the singer of Nickelback to write one of her songs, and he showed me the song, and it was actually really fucking good. I was like, damn, I want to take it and use it. And then, but Hayley Williams started crying to David Bennett. She like straight up legit was crying and was like, I don't want to use this song. I don't want to do that. And then he's like, oh, fuck. You know, and so he couldn't use the song, like, because Hayley Williams didn't want to use it for Paramore because she didn't like someone else writing her songs. And I was just looking at more like, hey, that's a really fucking cool song. Of course I'd use it. I was like, man, it's Chad Kroeger. What the hell? I was like, Nickelback. Yeah, sure. Why not? Fuck it. But he was telling us stories like that. And it was really weird because we weren't doing any music, you know? And like, but yeah, he was like a guidance counselor mostly though. It was so weird. He was bringing up trauma, like past traumas of our band and stuff like that. And it was so weird. He sat us each down like alone. And like he sat Craig down alone in a room, and he was like, you know, what would your daughter think about you right now as a father? Would she be proud of you? You know, questions like that. And I was like, what the fuck is going on right now? I was like, we're not making music. This guy is like acting like our guidance counselor or something like that. Like our psychiatrist, band psychiatrist, then a producer. And it was so fucking weird, dude. It was so weird. And then we all finally, we were playing, we brought in all of our equipment one day, and we were playing in the studio, like these tracks, the other tracks on the album, like Ungrateful, you know, Ungrateful and stuff like that, because it was already written at home, but we just haven't recorded it yet, like officially recorded it or nothing. And like, we're laying that down, and we're laying down You're Insane, but we did it, we were playing like live band playing it and stuff like that, and no one knows the fucking song, so we're trying to show everyone how to play the song. And then he's getting pissed off because no one knows how to play it. I was like, well, no one's heard it before, like of course they don't know how to play it, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and it was really funny and weird. But when it came to actually record like 2 weeks later, what really fucking blew it, and he kind of doodles around on the guitar and kind of like in between takes, and like he'll just do it to like warm up or keep in rhythm and stuff like that. It's just his flow. But David Bennett literally turns around and grabs the guitar and is like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, it's like, what the fuck are you doing? And to my brother, and my brother just gets like super pissed off, grin face all of a sudden. You know, he turns from like nice to like just pissed the fuck off. And then Dave Bennett's like, what the fuck are you doing? You're making the guitar go out of tune. And he's like, you're making the guitar go out of tune. What the hell are you doing? It was like, what the heck? It was like, it was so weird because it didn't really matter, because we had like a tremolo locking tuner pegs, so they weren't going to go out of tune. The guy was just very old school, you know, about recording.
Right.
He's like, you don't play in between takes. You're not professional. That's not professional. And that blew my brother up. Like my brother just dismissed himself out of the whole recording, like everything element in his head. He was like checked out. He's like, I'm done with this. I'm done with this. This guy is weird. We're not getting any music done. He's talking to me about fucking dreams and fucking visions and like trying to be my counselor, and like, oh no, I was like, what the hell is this? You know, this isn't recording music. We're like doing something else, and this isn't right. This isn't the vibe, you know.
Yeah.
You know. And so my brother checked out, and all he did, my brother would do, was just go to LA Fitness and work out all the time. He'd go to the gym and just fucking work out and play basketball. And then we'd show up like with like 3 hours left of the studio time. It was really funny, and like he just completely checked out. But I would go sometimes, but it mostly was just really weird. And when Robert was recording the drums, that's right, he was supposed to record drums. David Bennett yelled at him and said he sucked ass as a drummer. And he's like, you're a horrible fucking drummer. You can't keep in rhythm. You can't keep in time. It's like, why do you even call yourself a drummer? And stuff like that. And Robert started crying. He was crying, and like he's getting all emotional. He's like, I don't think I suck. You guys suck, and stuff like that. And I was just like, this is horrible. This is fucking our nightmare right now. It's like, this is our band nightmare. I was like, being here is horrible for us. I was like, and like he was trying to get a different drummer, the drummer who played for Avenged Sevenfold and stuff like that. He's trying to get that drummer to come and fill in Robert. We actually did bring him in actually, which was funny. And he recorded like on a demo and stuff like that. And Robert was pretty much crying the whole time, like crying and bawling his eyes out. It was sad, you know, being told like you're a shitty drummer and stuff like that. But I think at this point in life, he's used to being called a shitty drummer. Like he's forever known as like a shitty drummer to like everyone. Even on Warped Tour, people called him a shitty drummer because he couldn't play a drum solo on a fucking like in front of like a bunch of drummers. Like when they had like a drum off in Warped Tour. And Robert entered in, and he like couldn't play any drums at all. He like choked and like failed, and everyone started laughing and like called him shitty. And like it was really kind of funny because we're all drunk, but it was kind of sad at the same time. Right. You know, I was like, yeah, that's our drummer. He's like, yeah, I don't know what it's like to play with a really good drummer. I'm sorry. It was funny though, but he's like a good sport about it and stuff, and he practices a lot and all that, you know, tries to get better, but he needs help all the time for sure.
Yeah, so in terms of touring, what was your favorite song to play with Escape the Fate?
Favorite song to play with Escape the Fate, I want to say One for the Money was up there. It was definitely up there. I loved the energy it gave off when we played it. It just went off, you know. That was one of my favorites. But I gotta say, my absolute favorite at the time was Fire It Up, because I would always come out with the cowboy hat on. I would get like, I don't know, for some reason I was feeling really rockabilly and like totally into all that at the time when we were writing Ungrateful, the record. And like, oh yeah, I forgot to say, we ended up leaving David Bennett, and we did the rest of that album ourselves. Me and my brother ended up recording everything ourselves, and we got Brandon from Atreyu
Brandon Saller.
We got him, and he came up with Ungrateful, the rest of it. He did all the scream parts, everything. He came up with all the melodies, and he did You're Insane too. He came over to my house, this house, and we demoed that out, and then we just went to the studio. And we rented an engineer at NRG Studios in LA, and we ended up finishing the rest of the album, just me and my brother, and then just that was it. And we got an engineer and just did the rest ourselves. Oh, cool. And then we got it mixed by Josh Wilbur, who did Limp Bizkit and like Gojira and stuff like that. And we ended up, that's how we finished that record though. But it was a shit show. Okay, that record. But anyways, favorite song had to be Fired Up, because I'd always end up coming out with a cowboy hat on. And I had a blast because like we would always make fun of that song for being so rockabilly, because the riffs were really like a blues country thing that we did in it, a country twang. And it was so funny to me that I just went with it as a joke. And I would start I bought a cowboy hat, and I'd come out on stage every night just for that song. And I put the cowboy hat on, and I'll act like I'm riding a fucking horse and shit on stage. It was fucking hilarious. And everyone's just dying and laughing. It was like for a joke. And so every time that song would come on, I'd do that, and it'd be hilarious to me. But I actually really like that song, because that's a song where me and my brother like do dual. We made a dual guitar solo, like a Avenged Sevenfold. We looked up to Avenged Sevenfold at the
Oh,
time,
nice.
and so we wanted to do something like that. And so we came out with this whole guitar duo thing where we play together. We would walk up on. We had this rail that would go around the drums like this, like a stage walk.
Oh,
And he would walk up one side and I'd walk up the other, and we'd meet in the middle over Robert, and we'd play like this dueling guitar solo thing in the middle of the song. Or we went out to the front in the front and we would do it too and stuff like that.
oh,
But
wow.
it sounds so sick when it's like leads together. It's very Avenged in like the way we did it and wrote it. And I was just like, yeah, this song's so sick, man. And it has like all the right kind of breakdowns and stuff like that for Fire It Up. And I was just like, yeah, this song fucking sick, because I was just
Nice.
headbanging at the end, and I do the hair spins like and all that shit. Started getting really good at hair spins and all that shit.
Oh, wow.
Fucking love doing that shit.
Cool.
Yeah. So that was a good one. And then it was like Ungrateful to me. After that, then it was like Ungrateful. And I love playing Ungrateful, man. I do head spins and all that during Ungrateful all the fucking time. It was like just fucking loved it, man. Super metal and rock and roll.
Oh, like windmills and shit, huh?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I get way into it, man. When I love being out on stage and just fucking just being in it with the crowd, and just the crowd's vibing it, and you just feel the energy and you just give it right back, and it just feels good. It feels like at the end of it, does definitely feels like a workout. You got to work out though. Yeah.
Yeah, so we got a question coming in from Twitch from Gibson707. In which country did the audience get most excited about this show?
Which country? I want to say not in America. That's for sure. America is cool, like when it comes to shows and stuff, but they don't get into it as much as overseas people do. Like, oh God,
Yeah.
I want to say, shit, man. There's so many shows. Let's see. There's definitely some top shows. I want to say it was either Download Festival in Germany. It's Download Festival in Germany, or it could have been Soundwave in Australia, in Sydney, Australia, that were like the most massive shows where people were just, the audience was literally fucking crazy crawling on each other. But the most recent one I know was Download Festival, because when we released Ungrateful, we shot a music video. Half of it was at the Download Festival we played, and the other half was like at another festival in Detroit, Michigan. And so we pieced it together, but you could see the fans in Germany and Download Festival are just fucking crazy. And so we filmed it, some of that, and there's like girls taking their clothes off and stuff like that. And so we showed some of that like in the video, where like people are gonna do all that, you know. I think some of it's blurred, some of it's not blurred, you know, and stuff like that. And it was just like insane, like the pit and all that. When we play Guillotine, like the fucking spread of the pit would just open up, man, and the kids would just be into it, man. It was like a fucking sea of ocean of these kids, man, that just knock it out, man. They would just fucking be into it. And I loved it, man. And it was so metal too, because it was like raining at the same time. And I was like, oh, this is super metal. But I was actually freezing to death. But like the excitement took over me, and like it was just like crazy, like these thousands of fans, and it was just like the mud kicking up everywhere, and like just everyone just into it. It was like total rock and roll. And it was way sick too, because it was just like this massive sea, man. I was like, oh my God, like, and these kids are like killing each other out there, and we had to be like, you know, everyone make sure you be safe, you know, like, we know you love it, you know, the show, but also be mindful of everyone around you and stuff like that. We try to put that out there too, stuff like that, because we don't want kids dying, you know. It was like, but yeah, definitely Germany. And Soundwave was literally the biggest show I ever played, because there was like a sea of kids, and I couldn't see the end of it in Soundwave. It was like literally right when we dropped This War's Ours, and we had the 2 extra tracks that we did. It was Bad Blood and Behind the Mask that we ended up doing. We added on later. We did those songs ourselves. That was when we started very first recording. And we did those songs with an engineer guy who did Avenged Sevenfold, like one of their songs. And so we did with him. He wasn't very good, but we mixed it and made it better, and we came out Bad Blood. and all that. And we added that in, as a deluxe, for the album.
Gotcha.
And but when we released that, we were like, that was prime time Escape the Fate. And like when we went to Soundwave, it was us and fucking Justin Bieber. Fucking Justin Bieber was there playing, and it was like fucking like Katy Perry, and then like the other way was like we were like bigger than like, it was so weird because like here, like Shinedown is like considered bigger than us, but over in Australia, Shinedown had to play on the smaller stage.
What?
And stuff like that. Yeah, they played on the smaller stage inside of a tent, and we played in the massive stage. Like because their kids just loved us more there. It was like a collective thing. Like we were more popular there than some big bands here. It's so weird how it works. Like they look at all that stuff though when they book you overseas. They look at stuff like that. Like, hey, are they drawing over here because Shinedown isn't? And so they'll put you on the bigger stage. But in America, it's different, like Shinedown's killing it, so they headline. But over somewhere overseas, like Shinedown isn't as big. They don't tour enough or whatever. So we headline over them. It was like, okay, yeah. So we headlined over them. We played with him. We played like him was like one of the guys. And then we played, I forget. It was like freaking like In Flames, stuff like that. And like, it was sick, man. Because In Flames is like one of my favorite bands ever. For metal rock guitar. So, and we I think we headlined over In Flames too, which was so funny because that's how big that album was taking off. Like This War Is Ours, and it was like really sick. And then we had this like massive sea of people, and like I was like so mind blown. Like we like played the first song. We came out on stage, played the first song, and we were just baffled. Like we were all looking at each other like, what the fuck? This is insane. Like I've never seen this many people in my life. And like I was telling Robert and Craig while we're on stage too, I was like, I've never seen these many people in my life. It was like, this is like insane, dude. Because we couldn't see the end of it. It went up like over a hill and it just kept going. And like you couldn't see the end of the people. It was like insane. And then the way to the right, way far of us, it just kept going. Kids, all the way to Justin Bieber's stage. Too. And then it split off and he was like a mile away. It looked like literally a mile away from us, and we could see his stage, and then we saw his ocean of people, and they kind of met together, and then they just formed over here, and it was like so I was like, damn, dude, this is insane. I was like, that was prime Soundwave. It was like the craziest festival I ever played. It was 2009, I think it was. Yeah. I was like, wow, that was insane. That was the biggest show I ever played, I gotta say, for sure.
That sounds super badass. So, moving forward to 2013, I know you and your brother had started y'all's solo project, Money Brothers.
Money Brothers, yeah, woo!
But yeah, y'all of course put that on hold to focus on Beyond Unbroken. Which I do, by the way, feature Beyond Unbroken a lot on the Radkey Takeover and Radkey Request line.
Awesome. Wonderful.
Hey. So let's talk about the Don't Wake the Dead EP. First of all, I love the sound and total vibe of that, because I feel like it kind of reminded me a little bit of ETF, but not like, kind of like a new twist on it a little bit.
Yeah, the thing when we did Money Brothers and we were discovering, we learned a whole lot of new stuff about ourselves. Like doing this was like a huge risk on us for sure, from leaving and departing the band, because when we left, we kind of didn't know what we were going to do with our lives. We just knew this wasn't going in the direction that we wanted. We had no heart in it. None of the guys had heart in it, really. And we saw that, like, after the die down of Ungrateful, it was like, I could see that it was like affecting everybody. And like, so when we left, it was like a whole new challenge for us. Like, how the fuck are we going to do this? Like, we have a fan base, but how are we going to do this? Like, and so we took a step, and and Brian would always, he would always sing, like, all the time. And like with Ronnie and him, they would like duo. They would sing together. They sound like the same fucking person all the time. Like some people couldn't tell the difference when Brian would do the harmonies and when Ronnie would do the harmonies and stuff like that. It was like, he was really good. And like, So we immediately were like, okay, he's gonna sing, and stuff like that. And so we went into the Money Brothers, like just doing this thing, and Money Brothers, like eventually, I want to say everyone thinks that's like another entity and stuff like that of a band, but we actually just turned it into Beyond Unbroken. But
Oh,
I
okay.
get a lot of things like, when are you guys gonna do Money Brothers again? I'm like, we turned it into Beyond Unbroken. If everyone looks now, it's just me and my brother, but just with the actual band name. We
Right.
came up with the band name because we wanted it to be more like an official, be taken seriously, and stuff like that. It's like to like everyone who doesn't know us,
Right.
and stuff like that. And we just wanted it to come across that way, besides just going with our name and stuff like that. So we made that decision collectively later to change it to the name Beyond Unbroken and stuff like that. Yeah, I want to say.
Cool.
What else was part of the question?
So, okay, so in what ways is the writing process different from that of Escape the Fate for Beyond Unbroken?
For Beyond Unbroken, everything is like, honestly, it's like how it was in Escape the Fate almost. Like oh yeah, you had questions with the EP, huh? That was your question, huh?
Yeah.
I don't want to fuck with that. I don't know. Like you said, the writing style was like Escape the Fate, but really what we did with the EP was we took styles from Dying Is Your Latest Fashion in like the Ronnie era, because we helped create all that, and so we wanted to show that we're the writers of this kind of style of music, and like, but we wanted to put our spin on it, like officially. So that was the whole like kind of like the energy behind the EP was like, we wanted it to be punk rock, we wanted it to be angsty and like teenager drama, and we wanted to talk about the bullshit that we were facing with Escape the Fate and Falling in Reverse and stuff like that, all the backlash we've been getting.
Right.
And like, so we wanted to put it out through song, and we put it out through Overdose answers a lot of that stuff, and
That's one
and
of my favorites.
stuff like that. And then like we were also showing our writing side besides that, and our wacky side, like Losing My Mind, when we shot that video, it's like wacky stuff like that. But yeah, that was like the EP. We based it off of like Dying Is Your Latest Fashions kinds of vibes and stuff like that. It was really cool. But yeah, it's mostly when the writing process is me and my brother, and we have a giant studio upstairs actually, and that's like that's our domain, and stuff like that. And like, we have a drum set up there, we have our studio over here, and then we have our recording booth behind us where you go in a room and record, the music and stuff like that. And then I think my brother's like literally working on a song right now, to be honest.
Wow.
Yeah, he's up there working, he's laying down some stuff right now as I'm speaking.
Cool.
But we're always like on it, we're always working and stuff like that. We're like 50-50 with everything. Like, we're like, without me he's nothing, without you nothing, like that, and stuff like that. We're very collective of how we work, and we get along. Besides all the bullshit, we get along really, really well together like that. And that's why I think people love what we create all the time, because you can see that kind of influence we have on each other a lot. And like, we just vibe, we get each other when we're trying to come up with something. I just get it, what he's talking about. I'm like, oh, you mean like this, okay. And like, stuff like that. Or like, when I'm trying to show him something, he'll be like, oh, you're trying to show me this, huh? Stuff like that. And it works out really, really well and stuff like that. And but that's why we're just like killing it and stuff right now. And eventually, before in Beyond Unbroken, we got like a few members, which I don't know if anyone remembers that at all, or if anyone even cared. Like, we had a few members, like, and they were just mostly like homies and stuff like that. I didn't want to bring those guys in at the time, but my brother was very skeptical, and he wanted to make it look like it was like an official band, that like imagery of like, there's the bass player, there's the drummer and stuff like that. And I was just like, music is way different nowadays, and like, the bands aren't like full bands anymore. Like, there's people coming out as like solo artists and stuff like that, and like, it works well. And like, 21 Pilots is a good example of that. It's just two guys. I think Chevelle, they just put out their new rock album like a few months ago, and it's just their
Yeah.
brother. They're both brothers. The drummer and the singer are brothers. And the music video, their new video, is just them two. You know,
Yeah.
nobody else. They just like fuck everybody else. And so I was like, we have this thing. Why would we try and taint it and fuck it up?
Yeah.
So my brother was really scared about it, and so we got in these guys. They're like cool musicians and stuff like that, but we mostly had to do everything ourselves still on top of it, and it was just mostly like there for eye candy and stuff like that, you know. But we had like a lot of issues with them, like really quickly, like I knew we would, and they eventually started falling off though, and like I think the guitarist guy that we got to help my brother out while he sings, his name was Maddie, and like he ended up joining Vampires Everywhere or something like that. I forget what they're called, but it is I think they're called something else now. But he started like some new thing, and I forget what that band's called, but he joined that band and then like quit that band really quick or something like that, and he's trying to become like some solo artist now, and like just play guitar and shit like that. Yeah, and then like the drummer got in a fight with like the bass player or something like that, and so they ended up like moving the drummer out or whatever. Yeah, and that was like the drummer or whatever. But then eventually we had this other guy. We had this bass player guy for a while, and he was mostly just like our friend and shit. And like I knew it was so weird with him though. I was just like, I know we don't need this guy. He literally strokes people's egos just to like hang around and stuff like that. He'll say whatever he can say just to like be your friend and stuff, but really he was very manipulative, and he wanted to actually take over as singer, actually, which was really weird. It was really weird when he was asking. He would hint at this shit, man, and like he would be like, hey, can I sing on that song instead, you know, because this kid, he was like trying to do a band himself and be a singer and stuff like that, and like it was just total trash to me. And like, you know, but I was just like, you know, if you want to do that stuff, you go and do that stuff on your own, but this is like our baby. This is like me and my brother. Everyone who's looking at us it's for us, and it's like we're trying to put out this thing, and we're trying to not have any beef with anybody and stuff like that. And I try to tell him all this, but it just wasn't clicking in his head. All he was thinking about was like trying to find a way to like step over us somehow or use us or something like that. And I knew this guy was bad shit crazy, and I was like, we got to get him out of here. I was like, we got to get him out of here. But my brother was so hung up on him for a minute that when we were writing our like official album, like I didn't want him really to be there at all, but he was kind of hanging out around and stuff. But I was mostly working with my friend, the producer Ryan, and like we were just writing everything and stuff like that. We were writing really fast, and I just try to like not interact with the bass player really at all. I was like, okay, he's whatever. Like trying to not think about it and trying to be like in the moment and stuff like that, because he's mostly my brother's friend, and he wasn't really my friend. He was more just like some guy, you know, to me. And I didn't like him because I could read him like really quick. I have this thing where I try to read people, and I just saw all bad like in my head. I was like, this kid's like bad. He just doesn't even care who it is. He just wants to have some kind of public fame somehow, you know, like whatever it is, even if it's like with anyone. And I didn't like that because he wasn't in for the music. He was in to try and see how he could do something and take some kind of role. But that ended really fucking bad. And I don't know if my brother wants me to say it, but I'll say it. But they ended like in a fist fight. And it was really fucking chaotic because my girlfriend at the time I was like breaking up with was like, and we're supposed to shoot this music video, running out of time and stuff like that. And we were supposed to shoot this video, and like we literally had my brother had a fist fight with the kid because he blew up on my brother and was like, you're nothing but trash. You're like, all this weird shit started coming out, like this jealousy behavior. He was like super jealous of my brother and like everything he has. And I was like, my brother has all that because he worked hard for it. He worked hard his whole fucking life. And like, you should be grateful that we're letting you be a part of this, you know? And he was never grateful. And he thought he just deserved all of that. He just like, no, you guys deserve me. You guys, you know, I was like, what the hell is this shit? This guy's a diva, and he doesn't have anything to prove like what he is. I'm like, how you can't be a diva if you like, if you don't even have nothing behind you, you know? It was really silly seeing this behavior. And I was like, Brian, this is crazy. You got to get rid of this fucking guy because I'm going crazy letting him be in here. And I'm losing my fucking mind, man. I was like,
Yeah.
and then my brother was just like, he finally got into it because they both got drunk one night. And it was like a rage thing that the bass player was like super like everything in my brother's life he looked at he wished he had, like, and he painted this whole picture in his head like he wishes he was my brother or some shit. Like even like a girl came up to him at a bar, he like wished he was with that girl and weird shit like that. He was the weirdest dude ever, dude. And then he gets in this fist fight with my brother that he throws water on my brother's face in the middle of Phoenix on the street. We're all hanging out, and he throws like ice water all over my brother's face. All of a sudden, over a girl that that was hitting on my brother and not him. Though it was like literally the stupidest thing and most ego thing I ever seen. It was like, oh my god! It was like the girl didn't like you, dude. The girl liked Brian, was trying to talk to my brother, and then he's like, no, she liked me. She liked me first. And I was like, what the fuck, dude? Calm down. Oh my gosh, this is so stupid. So he throws water on my brother's face, and my brother flips the fuck out. And he's just like, what the fuck? And he throws the first punch at this kid. I was like, oh my God. And I was like, we are not doing this. There's cops everywhere. There's cops everywhere. And I was like, you guys are not fighting. Get in the fucking car. And I picked up Damon, and I'm trying to block my brother from punching him in the face. And then I was like putting him into the back seat of the car, and I was putting my brother, I was like, go in the front, go in the front. And I was just like, and I was trying to drive back to the hotel without them trying to kill each other. Because I don't know, I just felt bad for the guy. Like, I didn't want nothing to do with him, but I felt bad for him, because he's like, I was like, he should like not be in the band, but this isn't how it should be. This isn't how it should be. Like, it shouldn't be like this, But my brother flipped out and again in the car just because like he couldn't believe what like the shit the bass player was saying, like, and all this stuff. He's like, it was so bizarre. And I was like, I knew it, dude. I knew how this guy had some weird agenda. He was trying to do something and stuff like that. And like, but my brother flips out and they start fighting again. They get out in the car, and I'm just trying to not let my brother kill this kid. I know my brother's pissed off, but I was like, you gotta calm down, I was like, you gotta calm down. And like, but he exaggerates and stuff like that. He's like, I need to go to the hospital. Oh my God, I need to go to the hospital. So I take him to the fucking hospital. Nothing's wrong with him. Nothing's wrong with him, but he's very dramatic and stuff like that. So I take him to the hospital, and nothing comes of it. And I wanted to leave him there. I was like, you're out of here, dude. I was like, but I felt bad for him, so we let him sleep on the hotel floor. And then the next day, we let him play in the video eventually, but I didn't want to. I was just like, I told my girlfriend at the time, I was just like, really contour his face and stuff like that, because I think we're gonna have to edit him out. And I was like, and stuff like that, and like of the video and stuff. So there's like, we ended up doing all this, and I knew I didn't want nothing to do with this guy too. I've been trying to get this guy out for years, man. Like, I didn't want it to be beyond Unbroken and like have a bunch of issues like Escape the Fate did, I didn't want to perceive it that way. And I was like, we got to stop this shit now. And so after that happened, everything has been like amazing now. Everything has been amazing. There's a bunch of drama all the time in my life, but ever since that happened, it was a good thing. I'm glad it did happen, because like my brother had to see that, or else it was just like he would never learn, It was one of those kind of things, learning experiences. But it was good that it happened. I'm glad it happened, and everything turned out better. And then when we released the album and stuff like that, we came out with a follow-up because coronavirus hit. And when coronavirus hit, we took a toll, and we didn't know if we were going to release the album or not, but we ended up releasing it because we were like, fuck it. Everyone wants to hear music from us, so fuck it. And so we ended up, like, because everyone's putting out covers and stuff like that of music and stuff like that. And I was like, what if we did something better than just a cover? What about if we actually do something, but we take something of two elements and combine it together? And so we try to think of something outside of the box when we did the Falling Down Heathens cover thing.
Yeah.
And so that song is completely written, recorded, produced all by just me and my brother. It's like full on, nobody's help. It's, I wanted to showcase in my head how we don't need anybody. And I wanted to show how talented we are. And I know that we're really talented. And I was like, we gotta put this out. And I was like, so I was trying to make it like the best thing I ever could come up with.
Yeah.
So I like was writing all these different things, and I was like, let's do this, and let's like for the solo, we're gonna do this epic fucking like guillotine type of solo, man, and just say fuck it, because that's what our kids love. That's what the kids love, and stuff like that. They love the ripping solos. So I was like, we gotta make this super fucking a long solo, and it's gotta be from start to finish. It's gotta be insane the whole fucking time. It's like, and so we wrote this thing, man, and we loved it, dude. We just loved how it like starts off like like our EP kind of did and stuff like that. We wanted it to be like kind of our EP and just like angsty teenager, and and just like super over the top punchy, and like and like we just wrote it, and then like it was coming out so good, and then when the solo hits, it just hits you in the fucking face because you don't expect it.
Oh, yeah.
And like you wouldn't expect it, and then like all of a sudden it just rages into this like solo, and that's like kind of how the guillotine was. And so we wanted it to be all like that, and so we kind of based it around the guillotine.
Yeah.
And so yeah, and there's like two lead parts, and in the video we're like lead dueling together and stuff like that. When you watch when people see the video, it sees both playing us together. And then we like kind of did this cool like ending solo too at the end of the song, where it's very orchestra over the top, and like it ends like, because we like doing that like Tim Burton orchestra type of shit sometimes.
Yeah.
And so we came up with all that, and we put it at the end of the song where it ends like something like My Chemical Romance would do, or like Tim Burton like meets My Chemical Romance. And so we came up with this like whole soothing thing, and it was really cool to put like a leading guitar solo on top of it. And I was like, this is how the song's gonna end. And when I went to scream the song, and like I have all these screaming parts, and I was just like, yeah, I want to do a screaming part here, and then I want to do my highs, and I want to do some low gutters like in this part here, and then I end the song with like these super high pitched screams that I never done before, and I was like sweating like so gnarly in the studio, and I was just like fucking like, I love it, dude. It's gonna be so sick, dude. And it's like, it's just gonna end like just epic. And I was like, damn, that's how we need to write all the time. I was like,
That's awesome.
and so I was like, but it was so good and healthy for me and my brother that we learned so much during it. And now it's like I think it's our top song right now. I think it trends more than everything we ever put out, because I think people can feel like what went into that cover. It ended up not just being a cover. We did it and made something special about it.
Oh, definitely.
That like people just love to hear it. When they hear it, they just fucking love it. And it's like a number one song for like over the past year now.
That's
And like,
awesome.
yeah. And like we have, I don't know if you want me to say, I have stuff about new stuff coming out too.
Yeah, so since you did mention about, so the pandemic kind of hit a little bit before that was released, how has that changed band life for you guys?
Band life has been super weird for sure. Like we're not used to it, but we definitely grown accustomed to being at home, and like, over the years and stuff like that. And we definitely love being able to put a music out still, like, because that's what it's really all about, and like putting music out. Besides, I miss the live shows for sure, though. Like I really want to play live again for sure. And but the thing is, like, the whole coronavirus thing like affected so many people, like all kinds of things were canceled, like for people and stuff like that. Excuse me. But I even had some friends that got some shows offered, but they're still even scared to accept shows, like to the point like to where they're like no, dude, I'll wait until next year. Stuff like that. Yeah, but there's some people that are very skeptical about it and about playing shows still. And we're kind of a toss up. We wouldn't mind playing. We kind of never really cared about the whole pandemic. I mean, we care about it, and stuff like that for sure. But we're more like, we want to put music out, we want to play rock and roll, and stuff like that for everybody. So yeah, it's been definitely weird. But when we did the video for Falling Down, like I got the drummer who's in most of our videos. He's a good friend of mine. We got him to film himself on his own camera and stuff like that, and like he sent us him playing the song of the drums. So I don't know if anyone knows that though, but because we filmed it like a coronavirus video, like at home video, like, and stuff like that. We wanted it to be presented that way, like, oh, here's the bass player with him at home over here, and like here's the drummer over here, at home. And then we pieced it together, it's like, oh, we all can still connect even though, like, shows aren't going on. This is like how we can all be together and put out music and like play for everybody. So that's what we wanted to present and stuff like that.
Awesome. So speaking of that, so now you have some new music coming out, right?
Yes, we do.
Awesome.
That's for sure. Yes. So I'm officially allowed to say, as of today, literally today actually, June 10th is the official Beyond Unbroken next single. The song title is called Silver Spoon. And we haven't done a post yet. I don't know if we've done a post today, or if not, it's going to be literally tomorrow. The new song, they're promoting the new single, but it's called Silver Spoon. Okay. There's a reason why it's called Silver Spoon. Okay. And like, we have been, ever since we put out Falling Down, the Heathen song, we have been working nonstop, making music. And we even had, we've flown our producer out to come stay with us for like 2 weeks. And we wrote some stuff with him. He's really cool. But then we took over and did our own thing too. So, but we like using him because he's one of my best friends. And like, he's like not even a producer to me. He's like a best friend to me. And I love working with him because he's creative too. And he helps me function better in my brain and stuff like that. It helps me get things going and stuff like that. So we wrote a few things with him for sure. And then we wrote things on our own too that we have planned. But the new single is called Silver Spoon. It's coming out June 10th, along with the brand new music video. and it's over the top fucking chaos. All right. I was like, it's complete mayhem and chaos. And it talks about a lot of the questions that we get from Escape the Fate and Falling in Reverse, the falling out of everything, and like the whole band drama with the lawyers, the record labels, everything about it is all put into a story that's presented in a music video for you guys and stuff like that. But it's done in a chaos kind of a way that we put our spin on stuff like that. We do it in like a chaotic way, to show that we're fucking obscene and we're crazy, man. If I could relate it to songs, it'd be kind of like a 6ix9ine Gooba, that video, type of a fucking crazy vibe and stuff like that. And like, it's just so out of this world that it was so fucking fun to do. And like, we had to do it in different parts too. Like, the video was shot over a period of time and stuff like that. But we've been working on those songs and this song for like over a year now, like literally over a year. Like, it's been pieced together, torn apart, pieced together because we wanted it to be just right. Like, I went and ordered a 9-string guitar specifically for this fucking song. So, and then I love like the whole low tune, detune guitars, like from like the whole doom kind of elements and stuff like that. Like, I see it introduced more and more with new songs coming out, like the Architects coming out with the Animals, those songs like that. And I want to influence that too, because we like playing with that, but we don't really write in those kind of things like that. So for this song, we took it and we like redid it like 3 times. And like, I was like, we got to add this shit to it. We got to add this to it. And so there's like a whole music fucking process for this fucking song, because I was like, we're going to get a lot of shit for putting this out, because we've never, ever talked about any of the Escape the Fate shit, the Ronnie backlash we get, not backlash, but the attacks that we get constantly from him to this day, and everything around it. And so it talks about Escape and Falling in Verse and stuff like that. It talks about everything in our story that we never ever talk about and stuff. Like, because people ask us all the time, but we mostly stay hush hush about it because we don't want to start a feud with anyone. Like,
Right.
I don't hate any of those guys really, but I'm gonna say our piece about it, you know. At the same time, I'm gonna show what people want to hear all the time. They're like, how come you never talk about it? How come you never do this? Well, we're finally gonna say something about all of it, and then we're gonna do it through song, you know. So that's why the track is called, there's a reason why the track is called Silver Spoon. It's like, you'll see what you mean. You'll see the lyrics really fast and be like, oh shit, this is some fucking drama shit right here. Like, for sure. Like, it's gonna be a whole fucking thing for sure. We're gonna probably get all kind of Ronnie haters, all kinds of Escape haters. Some people are probably gonna fucking love it. Some people are gonna bash on it. Yeah. It's gonna be fucking mayhem for sure.
Oh man, y'all ready for
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, I know. I was like, damn. But we kind of just don't give a fuck. We're kind of at the point where, like, we get threats from Ronnie literally all the fucking time.
Oh,
And
wow.
like, yeah, like there's shit I get from him on Twitter of my brother, like attacks. Like a few months ago, he said something about us going and doing a live stream, and he's like, said some shit about us. And then he retweeted it. He tweeted it and like did all this shit, and he tweets all this shit about us, and then he'll go back and delete it, and then he'll keep some of it up too and stuff like that, and then he'll just do that shit, and he'll like laugh it off with the Escape guys here and there and stuff like that, and they'll just agree, and it's like a whole thing, man. We get a lot of backlash though, and the thing is I don't know why he's angry with us. I have no idea why. I have no beef with the guy whatsoever, but he talks all this shit, and I don't know why. I'm just like, dude, what the hell? I was like, because when we left Escape the Fate, we had nothing to do with Ronnie or Falling in Reverse, but he takes it like it has something to do with him because we were supposed to go on tour with him right before we left. But it was honestly nothing to do with him, but he thinks it has something to do with him. The truth is, we never came face to face, and we never talked with him about anything. We never talked face to face. I'm pretty sure if we did, it would be like cool and stuff like that. Eventually, it might be heated at first, but it might eventually be cool, you know, and stuff like that. Because I don't give a fuck, you know, and I'm just like, I don't care about the past, dude. I just care about the future and just like being cool with everybody. But in this video, it definitely depicts a lot of shit that's been said about us, and so it's a bunch of fucking drama for sure. And you'll see really fucking fast when you watch it. It'll be like, oh shit, like the references are out of the world. I'm like, out of this world, the references we make and stuff like that. And you'll just like a bunch of shit going on in the video, but then we also do our spin on it, and it's like a really over the top silly video. It's like really funny. Cool. But I think a lot of people are gonna like that. I absolutely loved it, doing it. And we got we got like a special mix of it. Like we got like 10 different mixes of it. But Nick Sampson did the mix, and this guy in freaking Japan did the master. And so we went out of our ways just to make this song extra good sounding and special, just so, because we wanted it to just sound fucking like today's shit, you know, just like so good, you know. So there's a lot of shit in there. There's like guillotine references. I can't speak too much about it until it's released though, but there's like a lot of references to everything in there. You'll see it. We'll probably gonna get a lot of hate for it, but yeah, that's it. And then we have another single coming out July 14th, and that's gonna be on label. Actually, it's gonna be on Fixed label on July 14th, and that song's called With or Without Me. Yeah, that'll be out July 14th. and there's no shit like that in there. That's like an actual legit song. It's like no band drama behind that. But like we released this label over the whole coronavirus. My friends are on this label and they do really well for them. So I was like, I'll try a single out with this label. They're really cool. I talked to the owner and like the other guys, the A&R guys, and I was like, you know what? I don't really need you guys, but I wouldn't mind trying something for fun. Why not? And so we're giving them an opportunity to promote it and do it. And so that song's going to be out July 14th, and they're going to start promoting it like towards the end of this month, I think. They're going to start promoting it. And it's going to come out on CD too. So you're going to be able to buy it along with their label. They're coming out like a compilation CD with like a bunch of other new songs with that label, with our new single for that label and stuff like that. So we have that coming out. And then we're going to have our merch store is pretty much ready to go. It's going to have a lot of the merchandise is going to be a reference to the new single, Silver Spoon. And so it's like it's all designed like kind of that element and vibe though. And like that's going to be all the new merch store, the new website. It's all going to be released on the same day, June 10th and stuff like that. So there'll be posts about it. It's just going to be beyondunbroken.com and stuff like that, and where people can find all the merchandise and everything, because everyone always asks that question, where are you guys going to release merchandise all the time? Well, it's because we want it to be really, really good, the material. We wanted it to be really good and not just some typical band shirt. So I made a lot of calls, and I got like the best kind of material and stuff like that, so it lasts long after you wash it and stuff like that. So I got like all prints and everything out, new merch line and everything for us for beyondunbroken.com.
Sweet. Well,
you'll be hearing that pretty soon, like literally today or tomorrow.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me and letting the listeners get to know more about you. To all the listeners, make sure you go follow Michael Money on Facebook, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. It's really easy because it's all the same, Michael Money TV.
Yeah, check me out on Twitch, man. I go on there all the time.
Yeah. So it was great talking to you. And yeah, I hope you have a good night and everything. And we
awesome. You too, Raven.
To hearing
definitely.
The new
Thank you.
music.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Take it easy.
You too. Bye.